Good day, guys. How are we all doing? I hope we all good. Welcome to Thursday analysis. Just waiting for the other guys so that they can hear me. Hey, bro, I hope you caught C1000 yesterday. C1000. That trade we were in before we slept when I say let's sell. I hope you caught it because it ended up dropping quite a good number of pips. I think we entered it here or here right at the slow. They just retraced a bit, then from there they just dropped all the way until the day close. Remember, I told you we're looking for the daily candle to close being solid bearish, and that's exactly what it did. So I hope you caught that one. Just waiting for these guys. I think they're struggling with network. They'll have to catch up. So we're going to quickly start with C500. Yesterday I was anticipating sells below this gray zone here. But if you see price never came and closed below, the pattern tried to play out here at the top. A peak order block broken and it closed below, but we didn't get a follow through to close below our zone here. So what are we anticipating today? It looks like this could be a midweek reversal, guys. This could be a midweek reversal. So what I'm looking for is for the pattern to complete, but let's just start with the weekly, see how the candles are looking like. So weekly, it looks like it's expanding to the top side, especially after we got this close above the 13, right? So when we drop to the daily now, daily, we had this hanging man candle here yesterday. And today, price is taken out yesterday's liquidity or yesterday's high. And this whole move also took out this liquidity on the daily chart, which is the highest high of Feb of this month. So what are we looking for, right? So let's start where the month started. We started here, price retraced, took out these lows, and price started delivering up. At the moment, I feel like price might still come all the way here before this bullish move continues. That's my current view on C500. So moving with up buyers, I'm looking for sales. Nice stop at highway. Drop down to H1. Looks like H1 is in motion, guys. Let's sell C500 one position right now. Let's sell one position. I'll give you my reason why I'm saying one position for now. Okay, we've got one runner, one sell position on C500. We agreed on the buyers coming from the higher time frame. That's the reason of us selling. But the reason I'm saying let's only have a runner here is because price can still retrace into this area. I have an order block here, even on F15, I've got a breaker block somewhere up there, right? But right now we're selling because I'm seeing that this peak has broken this order block and closed below, and this looks like a retest. So they could accelerate price to the downside without coming back up here. But we only want to have one in case they actually decide to push up there. So we want to manage our risk. All right. So each one does the view. Let me just mark this order block as well. This is on price line 3611. Then we've got the top one on 3628. Okay, so now we're down to the smaller time frames. Let's see how M30 is looking. Okay, M30, from M30 you see that break here and the retest. So they could accelerate price down, take out this liquidity, then push back up into this order block here. Then from here we can get a swing sell, which might last us 2 days if we are lucky. If they play that way, that's what could potentially happen. But 36.28, let's confirm 36. So I've got 36.28 from M30, and I've got, okay, it's more or less the same because we've got this order block here on 36.30. So from 36.28, sell limit, 36.30, sell limit, stop loss maybe around 36.40 or outside the range. That's my current view for C500. So for now, anticipating a drop as well from current market price. That's why we sold. Where could they drop to? Okay, we're going to extend this level here. 35.70 is a possible target right now. So we've got a 35 pip trade before we get a retracement. So usually they might do this, then come and stop here before they get to this area, give a deep retracement, then create a new pattern, then drop. So that's how I'm looking at this. But we'll just see. You'll see either a drop here or a drop around this zone. So those are my 2 points of interest on C500. Going back to C1, we see we've got a nice retest of the zone we sold on. That was also my reason for the sell here. It was a retest of a broken area here. So that's why I decided to sell. So today you can see price reacted on the same area, chucked in on the TDI. So can we get a continuation? Safe sell is below this order block. So we are going to mark this order block here, meaning price can still come complete the pattern here, then eventually start to fall. But if they do come below the zone right now, below 60.10, price can still come back towards these lows. So that will be a short-term sell, seeing that we've been bearish for a few days. Price might be preparing to retrace. So let's check how the daily is looking. Okay, here they haven't reached our zone. You see, we were targeting this zone here. If you're following the analysis from the past few days, we're targeting price to get here, so they can still extend this price into this area here. Hence, we are selling here. If you notice, this is the low which has been broken and being retested. So I would say I'm still very bearish on C1000. Okay, going back to H4, we're looking for a supply zone. From my point of view, this whole area here would qualify as a supply zone because it's a huge order block there. This is the zone being retested. Can price still come back up here? Yes, they can. They can even extend this week here and come and tap into this zone here before they drop. That's possible. But at the same time, once we break this order block we marked on M15, then the sell should be safe all the way to the daily zone, which should be around 59.75. Yeah, 59.75, 59.70 area price can potentially get there. So H1 looks like it's moving. We're waiting for F15 to complete a pattern. If they close below the zone, we're going to sell. And stop loss will be just above this last high here. So we need a close here, then we sell stop loss here. If they take us out, it could be a bigger pattern or M pattern completing. So we look for another confirmed entry somewhere there. So that's my view for C1. C300, they've been going sideways, trading in the range from the 20th of Feb. So you can see this high and this low price is trading within that range. So once we identify that price is trading within a range, we just want to mark the supply zone of that range, which is that highest high there. And this is H1. Then we want to mark the demand zone of that range, which is this lowest low here. So until price comes out of this range, we won't have anything clear. If we get a rejection here after taking out yesterday's high, then we can look for a sell. Maybe take profit around these areas or take profit on the 50. They can still potentially come back down. Then we'll only consider like long-term sales after we're outside this range, or wait for price to come up here, show us what they want to do. Then we can execute. They might come up, then come back down, which means as soon as they do that, they'll definitely be coming back down to this demand zone on the bottom here. So nothing too solid on C1. Let's just see how they break yesterday's high. We wait for each one to give us a reversal, like a candlestick pattern like this, candlestick pattern like this. Then after that, we can go to M15 and look for a pattern, then we can sell. So we're going to leave this on H1. B1000. So I was talking it yesterday. It took me out on a trade. You see here my notes where it says setup did not play out on the 50 EMA. I was waiting. Let me show you what I was anticipating. Okay, as the price was pulling back down, and I saw this rejection here on this level, that's where we bought, and price dropped and it took us out. Then they came and they also respected a point of interest which we had marked. Right, again, a pattern formed here, a break and a retest. It didn't follow through. They didn't break the safe entry zone, because I remember we had a safe entry above this area. They didn't break it. Still came back down. So here they initially extended this low, then they extended this low. They didn't get into this order block, started pushing up, then they closed above our safe entry, of which it was still within the same range. A new peak, order block, a break, and a retest. So if we're still trading, potentially could have bought here, but if you notice, they could have still taken us out here depending on with the risk. So B1 wasn't really moving too clean to be quite executable, but then still they eventually played out, even though they didn't even get to the target. So the setup wasn't too clean, and with some losses on it. So today, how are we looking at B1000? They've reached the 50 EMA. They have reached this last order block here on the daily. So let me just switch to the line chart and mark this high here. So that's a point of interest there. Price 13,816. 13,816. And we also have 13,858. Okay, like this. So once we go back to the candles now, okay, so we've been pushing down, coming up from this high here, right? Back into a demand zone. What can potentially happen is this price can break through and come to this level, because you see this was not retested here. So they can potentially be heading all the way down here before we start even getting any good buys. Or they could give us a retracement here, bounce off the 50, push back up into this level here, then maybe push down. So these are just like projections of what might possibly happen. So again, the 50 EMA where price is usually price likes to trap on that area. So we are bearish, but we could push up. That's the bias we're taking from H1. So coming to H4, again, you can see we are bearish. So what we'll be trading will potentially be a retracement to this bearish move, which is happening this week. Price is also broken this level, retested it, and it's pushing down, meaning the bearish pressure can actually be too high in such a way that we might not be able to catch a good buy. That's visible by what happened yesterday. Even though the retracement was there, we couldn't really catch a good buy because it was like too tight. The bear pressure was too high, so I wouldn't really want to buy this one unless I see a very, very solid pattern. Then I might consider buying. So looking at the H1, if we're saying we are in a sell price delivery, we are looking for supply zones where price can potentially retrace to. So looking at this flow from yesterday, the only zone where I feel price can retrace to is here. Right. That means if we are going to get a buy, that's a potential take profit. But if you look closely, if you zoom in, there's also like a minor zone there, which was retested, meaning this price can just come up to here and continue falling, you see. So that means again on this retracement, there won't be any volume for us to actually execute on the buys. So remember, the booms we only buy, the crash we only sell. So that's why I'm only emphasizing much on the buys and not saying let's sell. So that's it. B1 for me today is just low probability. I won't expect anything too solid on it. So I'm just going to leave it on the H1 so that we can stoke on it. B5 ended up playing out. I remember, I'm not sure if we executed, but I remember I was on a buy and it took me out before play. So just going to explain how it moved. Yesterday we had marked this area, this order block, and this red zone here. So price broke these aggressively, and I knew they're out of commission, they're not being used. Price came, stopped here, and this is where I got the first sign of reversal, and I feel like my buy was just early. It was just early on this particular trade, so price ended up pulling back down, and they took me out. So I was done for the day. Then, fun enough, after taking me out, that's when the real pattern now formed. So price then pushed up aggressively. This was the peak, right? So this was the order block. They pushed aggressively here, passed it, came and retested. So there were two opportunities for buys, but my loss limit for this particular day was reached, so I couldn't execute on these buys. But if somebody took these buys, then well done to you. So just looking at these patterns from M15, let's see. Okay, this is where I took my buys. It was very early because the pattern was not really confirmed. Hence I was taken out. Then a new pattern formed. They broke structure here aggressively. So if we had missed this, because we cannot enter here because this is late, rather wait for a retracement. Didn't happen until later on in the day as the day was about to close. That's when they retraced to the zone and played out. So how are we looking at this today? So we see how the daily candle closed. We might be getting sells or sellers might be getting control of the price now just based on how the daily candle closed. So I don't think we'll get any solid buys here. Let's drop down to H4. I don't think so. Maybe we might. So I just want to pay attention to the zone which has been retested. I would say that's my only point of interest because it's in line with this area here. So Sony's price gets to 51, 51.88. I would say it's just a point of interest. It's not a buy limit. Point of interest. If we get to 51.88 to about 51, let's say 78. So it's a 10 pip range. Price respects this area and they show signs of pushing up or they give a pattern, especially on M15. Then I think we can execute a buy. But if they don't, if they show signs of breaking, then this price could actually be reversing because this looks like a double top on this week's price. So they might start delivering this price to the downside. That could actually happen. So those keen on selling, you'd rather want to wait for a break below this zone, potential retest, then price can also potentially come back all the way to 5,000 area. So this will be a swing trade for sellers. But as buyers, we still want to see if this same zone will reject price for a short-term buy. So that's my view on B500, J10, J10. We've been strong bullish. Oh, let's see. There's something which I wanted to mention. Let's see what happened here. Oh, so yesterday, let me highlight this. On V1, you remember you guys was talking about the 800 EMA holding price here. So yesterday, price just proved to me that the trend always respect the trend because we can see from the week beginning, this is the stop and price is being delivered to the downside. So as much as we have seen our price respecting the 200, you should know that if the trend is strong against your setup, chances of your setup playing out will be very low. So that's one thing I wanted to highlight because I mentioned it yesterday here. All right, so going back to J10, you can see price hit the 200, showing signs of rejection or a retracement. Let's see how the weekly is looking. Okay, weekly looks like they're delivering price to the buy side. This price can potentially come take out this liquidity just above here. That's on the weekly. So if you drop down to the daily, you can see it's really close. They can also come into this area here, which is also close by. So I feel like this could be a week, like they could push up, then aggressively come back down, which is also possible. The 4-hour is on the 800 EMA. We've got a peak and an order block. So safe sales will be below this area. If we close below here, then we can take a short-term sell. Going to H1. You can see, I think I started marking this yesterday. So peak, minor order block, proper order block. So a close below this area will give us a short-term sell either into this area or into this area before price continues pushing up, which is possible. Or if they don't break this zone, then they will definitely start pushing up. So we could get a short-term buy from this area here to that daily zone, to those daily zones we marked. So it will just be price accelerating, maybe taking people out, triggering buy stops, then it will reverse and still come down. That's just a possibility of what could happen. So if they respect this zone here and they come back above, then we're taking buys going back up here. Then if they get up here and they respect these areas, then we're taking a sell, either being a retracement to a continuation up or being a reversal to price starting to come back down. So that's how I'm viewing J10 today. Let's see. I'm just checking how our C500 trade is looking. Let's add one more position on C500. The reason to adding that position, I see price looks like there is momentum here. Just looking at these candles here, there is momentum. So we want to at least get to these lows. Then from there, we'll anticipate a retracement. So if we get somewhere here, we can scale out to close, wait for a retracement, then we can get in again, then hold. That's how I'm looking at C5. So going to B2501S. I remember I marked this zone and I said I wouldn't trade until price came back to this order block on the H1. So my bias and setup is still the same. I will only react when price gets into this area. This is an order block on H1, so I will just fill it so that it's visible. H1 order block, I'll wait there and see how price wants to react. That's my current view on V2501S. These are just points of interest at the top here. So we'll keep stalking this one. We don't have any active trade yet. Okay. Okay, so our high probability trades today are C5 and potentially C1. Those are high probability trades. So we're going to monitor C1. It's the only C5, sorry. It's the only one we're active on at the moment. Let's see if it's going to play out. If you guys have questions, now is the time to ask. I think with some time. If not, you can still get in touch on the Telegram group. If there's something you want us to look at, you can still send a message on Telegram, even in the group, or on WhatsApp. If you have my number, then we can discuss. Apart from that, if there's no questions, wishing everybody a good day today, good trading.